Michael Montero coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm in the jacuzzi, bitches. Seriously, I'm up here for on an assignment for Boxing Monthly. Probably won't make the April issue of the magazine, but should definitely make the May issue. So more to come on that. Talk more about that later. I wanted to talk real quickly about the fight between Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia coming up this Saturday, March 4th from Brooklyn. This is a really, really good fight. It's probably, at least on paper, the biggest matchup in the history of premier boxing champions. I think it's definitely worth the $4 million purse that's being split. Each of these guys is getting $2 million, and it's the highest payday of both their careers, and they deserve it. They're both fighting a top 5 welterweight in this fight, I think, at least the top 10 welterweight, both these guys, and they're facing the best opponent of their career, and they're unifying titles. So the winner of this fight is probably at least the second or third best welterweight in the world, and right up there with the winner between Kell Brook and Errol Spence, a fight that's happening later this spring, as the two best welterweights in the world. So I want to talk about this matchup real quick. A lot of you guys have asked my opinion, and I keep going back and forth on this one, man. I think, obviously, when you look at their entire career, right, going back to the amateurs, Danny Garcia's faced the better opposition. Even in the amateurs, he fought Terrence Crawford a couple times. He beat Terrence Crawford in a fight, I want to say it was like 18, 19. Both of them were like 18, 19 years old. And I think it was a lightweight fight in the amateurs. And I think he lost a close one. They were both close fights, I think, with Terrence Crawford. And Danny Garcia fought a bunch of other guys in the amateurs, had a good amateur career, and so did Thurman. But I think Garcia faced the better opposition. And then at 140 pounds, at junior welterweight, Garcia fought really, really good opposition for a while there. Of course, everyone talks about the fight against Lucas Matisse. That was his best win to date. And that was on a big, big card. It was on that Mayweather-Canelo card. But he fought some other good fighters in there. You know, he fought Zab Judah, and yeah, it was a faded Zab Judah. He fought Eric Morales. It was a faded Eric Morales. But he fought Amir Khan, right? He fought several good fighters at 140. Now he's moved up recently to 147. The opposition hasn't been that good. But you look at Keith Thurman's career, he hasn't really fought that many top welterweights himself. He had one fight in 2016, one time fought one time in 2016 against Sean Porter. That was a good fight, good opponent. Sean Porter's a good quality welterweight, but that was it. And that was last summer, I believe. And remember, last year he had an injury. That fight was supposed to happen, I think, in the spring. It got pushed back. So he's been inactive, and he's been frustrated about being inactive, and he's voiced his opinion about that on social media and stuff before. Garcia didn't fight the best opposition last year, but he was a little more busy, and he isn't coming off as long as a layoff. So Thurman obviously is probably the more athletic fighter, hits harder. I do think his one-punch knockout power is overrated. I think the whole one-time thing is a little overrated, and he used to come out as a kind of a stalker and used to go, you know, seek and destroy kind of fighter. And then he got buzzed in a fight. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. It might have been Chavez. But he got buzzed badly in a fight, early in a fight. He came back and won. I think he won by knockout. But from that point, Thurman has turned into a little bit more of a counterpuncher. And he sits on the outside and likes to dictate pace. And he has a good jab when he throws it. Now, Garcia, by nature, is a counterpuncher, and he's a very, very good counterpuncher. He's the smaller guy in this fight. He's punching up to Thurman a little bit. Naturally, Thurman's the thicker guy, and but I think Garcia throws the straighter, shorter, tighter, more fundamentally sound punches, at least on the inside. Thurman, on the outside, I think has more hand speed. I think he has quicker feet. I think he could get in and out faster on Garcia. So I keep going back and forth. Is it Garcia? Is it Thurman? Here's where I sit with this fight right now. I see Thurman controlling distance early on, using his jab, fighting smart. If you look back at the fight with Sean Porter, there was a lot of sloppy fighting in that fight. He would lunge in, and you get caught sometimes. And Porter's a rough customer, right? Now, Porter lunges in, and that has a lot of fundamental errors in his game, and Thurman was able to take advantage of that. Garcia really doesn't. Garcia isn't the fastest guy. He doesn't do anything great, but he does everything pretty well. He's fundamentally sound. So I think early on, Thurman can control distance with his jab if he fights smart, if he doesn't get lazy, if he doesn't try to be one time and go for the knockout. But at some point in those middle rounds, I can see Thurman lunging in, getting lazy, bringing back his left hand a little low on a jab or something, and getting countered in close range. And I can see Garcia landing something that might not necessarily hurt Thurman, but get his attention enough to where Garcia starts to make some gains in the middle rounds. And that's when I think things are going to get interesting. And I could see this fight being even after about 8 or 9 rounds, heading into the later, the championship rounds of this fight. I think we might have an even fight on the cards. However, down the stretch, I think that Thurman is going to make the adjustments, and I think Thurman's style is going to get the benefit of the doubt from the judges. You look back at last November, fight between Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev. Now, I'm not saying these two guys fight anything like them, but the style that Ward had, I think, got more favorable judging, right? Favorable scoring from those judges. Now, this isn't in Las Vegas. This is in New York. I think they have a commission that scores fights better out there in New York than in Vegas. But I think that Thurman's punches look more impressive. And I think down the stretch, he's going to win more of those closer rounds. And I could see Thurman winning a close, possibly controversial decision in this fight. I think that fans might be going back and forth. It might be a 115, 113 kind of affair with Thurman getting the nod and a lot of fans being upset. That's my official prediction. Of course, we won't know for sure until we see the weigh-in. I think that's the next factor. Keith has looked a little bloated. You see him walking around at fights and stuff during his layoff, and he looks a little chunky. He gets a little bloated. He's a country boy, and he likes to eat. And that could be a factor here. If he struggles making weight, if he blows up after the weigh-in, if he looks dry going into the ring that night, that might be a factor, especially in the later rounds. But if he comes in shape and looks good, I think down the stretch, he wins a close, possibly controversial decision. Won't surprise me one bit, though, if Danny Garcia lands a big counterpunch on the inside, a hook, a short uppercut, something like that, catches Thurman lunging in, catches him being lazy, and puts him down. And possibly that swings the fight in his favor. Wouldn't surprise me one bit, but officially my prediction, I think this is going all 12 rounds. I think that it's going to be a very technical fight through the first half. It's not going to be the exciting fight people are expecting, a lot of fans are expecting. I think it will get more exciting in the later rounds, but these two guys naturally want to be counterpunchers, and they're going to want to play it safe. Thus far, Danny Garcia has shown a good chin, and Keith Thurman, I think his power, the one-punch power, is a little overrated. So, I don't see a knockout happening. At least I don't see Thurman knocking out Garcia. It's possible Garcia could catch him, but I don't know if he has the power at 47 to knock out Thurman. I think this thing's going to the cards. I think Thurman wins a close, comfortable decision. Let me know what you guys think. Back to my jacuzzi time, bitches.